There's an old saying that goes, man plans, God laughs. And it rings true because I think we can all agree that things very rarely go according to plan. Life loves to throw in unexpected twists and turns at every opportunity. No matter how meticulously we think ahead, the path toward our goals is always subject to roadblocks and detours. But while the journey might rival Pan's labyrinth, the big dream, your ultimate goal and your vision, lives unmoving at the end.
When I was maybe 18 or so, I was reading about Y Combinator in Silicon Valley from my house in Barcelona. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. But I would always see it as something that's so out of reach. I would have never imagined that I'd be where I am today. That was kind of like a big realization. You really need to be careful about the dreams you choose because maybe they will come up true.
That's Anna Piñol, the CMO and co-founder of grocery delivery service Jupiter. Anna's dreams have required her to leave her home, travel around the world, settle into a new country and culture, learn to fight off self-doubt, and dive deep into entrepreneurship. It was, and still is, a challenging journey. But in Anna's opinion, it's actually the initial process of establishing those dreams that might just be scarier than the path it takes to reach them. There are always exciting things happening in the world of small business. The news that grabs the headlines, though, are always the highlights, the overnight successes, the billion-dollar IPOs, the massive exits. But just like your Instagram feed, that's never the whole story. Let's look deeper than the headlines and the press photos. Underneath all of that is the real work building something valuable and lasting. Don't get me wrong, I love crazy success stories and can be drawn into those big flashy tales just as much as the next person. But we all know that what's more important than the destination is how you get there. It's the struggles you have to overcome and the insights you learn along the way that make you who you are. So those are the stories we're telling. It's raw, it's honest, and maybe it's exactly what you need to hear. I'm Hillary Georgie, and this is The Journey. Growing up, Anna wasn't a stranger to entrepreneurship. She was from a family of hardworking small business owners.
So I'm originally from Barcelona, from Spain. Ever since I was a kid, I knew I would eventually start something on my own. Both my dad and my grandparents started their own businesses. Growing up, that was the normal that I lived with. So it was always like my dream, and it was kind of like an obvious thing that I would also start a company of my own at some point.
Most of Anna's family was employed by these businesses or helped run them, and she was no exception. As a preteen, she would spend her summers and free time helping her dad with his civil engineering company. Her work started with taking phone calls and organizing paperwork, but as she got older, her role evolved into taking on bigger technical projects. For Anna, it wasn't a chore, it was something she really enjoyed being a part of. But even though she loved working for a small company and knew that she would eventually want to branch out and start something of her own, Anna didn't feel like she was ready to jump in just yet.
I never felt prepared enough. I went to college, decided to study law and business there. And my last year, I tried to start something. When graduation was approaching, I suddenly felt scared about continuing with that venture. I was thinking, oh yeah, eventually you'll start something, but you need to prepare yourself. And prepare myself at that time was, let's go work for a big company and learn.
Anna went to work for Amazon, which at the time was just establishing itself in Spain. It was a great opportunity to be on the front lines of a new venture, while still having the security of being part of a large, stable company. But she knew she couldn't and didn't want to rely on that security forever.
After 4 years, things were going well, but I felt like time was going by very fast. And I was like, okay, I either quit now and try to go back to that initial dream that I had of starting something, or I could see myself forever in that company. So at the time, I made the difficult decision to quit and apply to business schools. I was lucky to be admitted to Stanford, which was my absolute dream school. I took my things and I moved to the US.
It was an exciting choice, one that put her back on the path toward her true dream. But that excitement couldn't completely suppress her self-doubt, nor could it mask the challenges that came with moving to a new country.
It was a very, very difficult decision because even if Stanford was my first choice, coming from Spain, there's not the same think big mentality as it is in the US. For a long time, even if I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, that was something that I would never share openly because people would look at you like you are delusional.
For so long, she had been consumed by fear of even sharing her dream with others, which made her feel like making that first step toward pursuing it might be a step in the wrong direction.
My parents and some close friends were really helpful in that moment in encouraging me to take that decision. And definitely, even after I decided it took me some months in the US and at school to be completely at peace with that decision and happy about it. It's not easy. You are going to a new country. You are not speaking the language as well as you speak your own language. So, for example, like being able to express yourself fully is complex at the beginning. It was also like difficult on economic terms. It's a big investment to decide to do an MBA.
The culture shock of moving to a new country, the fear of having made the wrong choice, the financial and emotional strain of it all. It was a lot for Anna to manage, especially on her own. Luckily, she wouldn't be alone for long.
What made the click is when I realized the impact that being there was having in my mindset and the people that I was meeting and how empowered they felt to achieve the things that they wanted. At the beginning, it was shocking. Like I was coming from that place in which you could not even say, hey, I want to build like this super successful business. And then I was meeting classmates that had like these big visions and big ideas. And for me, it was shocking at first, but it started to be very inspirational. I realized the effect that was having on me and giving me confidence to achieve what I had wanted to achieve always, but never had been able to be vocal about it. And I think being vocal about what you want is definitely like your first step towards achieving it.
After the break, Anna shares how meeting like-minded people helped her feel more confident and digs into the internal conflicts she and all entrepreneurs still face and why dreaming big is so important.
As part of Salesforce's continued commitment to small businesses, they've recently announced Salesforce Care for Small Business, a combination of free products to help during the COVID-19 crisis. New customers will get 3 months free access to out-of-the-box CRM Salesforce Essentials and Analytics Solution Tableau, as well as 6 months free access to collaboration tool Quip. Now, more than ever, small businesses need the right tools to connect with their customers. Salesforce is here to help. To learn more, visit salesforce.com/thejourney.
Getting settled at Stanford was a bittersweet experience for Anna, but what made it bearable at first and worth it in the end was the people she met. People like her current co-founder and business partner, Chad Monroe. During the summer between her 2 MBA years, Anna decided to forego an internship and instead work with Chad on a project. That idea didn't ultimately pan out, but the big win of that summer was being able to get her feet wet in the real world of start-from-scratch entrepreneurship. Anna and Chad began working alongside 2 other co-founders, and it's that team of 4 that became the founding team of Jupiter, Anna's current venture. But before they hatched the plan for Jupiter, that little team spent a long time jumping from idea to idea, learning to work together.
We had a very structured method to try and evaluate ideas. And the way we were testing them was like, we had this idea, so we spent 2 weeks just trying to sell it to who would be the customer of this idea. And then we would evaluate if we saw some signal there or not. We found it to be like a good way of trying and discarding things fast.
This cycle of idea, test, evaluate taught Anna to be very self-aware and to keep her emotions separate from the process. Her team was supportive of each other and each other's ideas. Together, they learned to develop mindsets of perseverance and resilience, which paid off because finally, Anna and the team found an idea that stuck.
We're creating like a new type of delivery. So you have like last mile delivery, for example, that has been like what has enabled e-commerce as we know it today. But we are working on creating the last meter delivery going directly inside your home.
Jupiter is a grocery delivery service that delivers food straight into your kitchen every week so that you're always fully stocked. It may sound like magic and feel like magic, but it's all based on an extensive algorithm and a lot of legwork.
We were a very big co-founding team with a lot of experience on the sector that we were going after. At the beginning of all these, it was the four of us going and doing all the shopping at stores and going into people's homes and feeding their fridges. It was helpful to learn, but at some point, obviously, it became counterproductive to use our time doing that rather than something else.
They raised capital and started to expand their team. But even with that momentum building, Anna still struggles with ever-present self-doubt and the fear that she was dreaming too big.
And it's difficult because sometimes you feel a bit crazy. Some days you feel like, oh yeah, like definitely this is it. And you feel like on top of the world. But other days you're feeling a bit delusional. What has been the hardest has been like this battle with yourself, trying to manage these emotions, trying not to be super happy when things are going very good, and at the same time trying not to be very down when things are not going well. You need to run this as a marathon and understand that things take time and are hard. Otherwise, like everyone would be doing them.
And while Anna and her team are busy heads down in work, it can be easy to lose perspective and forget to recognize the successes they've had so far.
I think it's very hard for me and for our team even to celebrate successes, because we always feel on like in a fight, kind of like fighting the odds. My friends and the people around me have been probably the most helpful in that, in helping me realize what we have achieved and what I have achieved.
Her friends and family keep her grounded, while her teammates help her think big, and somewhere in the middle, Anna finds a balance for herself. One hand reaching for the big dream, the other doing the smaller day-to-day tasks to get there.
For me, like what is key to success is every day making the right decisions about what you're going to be focusing on and what does the team need to focus on. You can get completely overwhelmed and sidetracked if you don't have a good system to prioritize what's important and what's not.
And for Jupiter, what's important is not only helping its customers save time and have peace of mind, but the company is also finding ways to help the environment by working to eliminate food waste.
We want to be in a place in which we are able to make a contribution on the food waste that is being generated in the US today. So eventually, like being able to have a big impact there is our big dream with Jupiter.
It's a big dream, but Anna knows to dream big because in the end, you might just get what you were hoping for.
For a long time, I thought that you needed to get ready and prepare a lot, and then you would be able to do whatever you want. I changed my perspective in the last years, and I now think that you would be able to achieve what you want if you start trying it very early on. And you keep a good mindset. Don't wait to be more prepared. Don't wait to be ready to do what you dream of, to understand that most likely you're going to achieve what you are aiming for. So dream as big as you want.
Sometimes, or as Anna would argue, oftentimes, what we dream does come true, even after all the twists and turns life throws you. The path is rarely pretty and it's never easy. But in the end, if you have the determination to see things through, you can achieve what you set out to do. And that's why goal setting is so scary. Because if you let fear and doubt lower the bar, it's that lesser goal that you'll ultimately achieve. Anna's friends, family, and team have created a community of support that have helped her escape her shell of fear, and they have encouraged her to not limit herself. Rather, she should embrace the path toward her bigger dreams. Because as Christopher Reeve puts it, quote, "So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable."
Today's uncertain business climate makes it critical to stay in touch with your customers and employees. That's why Salesforce recently announced Salesforce Care for Small Business, a combination of free products to help businesses during the COVID-19 crisis. New customers will get 3 months free access to out-of-the-box CRM Salesforce Essentials and analytics solution Tableau, as well as 6 months free access to collaboration tool Quip. Salesforce is here to help you stay connected. To learn more, visit salesforce.com/thejourney.